Hey guys, I am so excited about today's video because I get to show off my newest carburetor purchase. And if you're new to the channel and you don't know, I am obsessed with Holley carburetors. I have like a little collection going, and if you scroll back on the channel, I actually did a video where I went over every single one and spoke a bit about them. But this carburetor right here is by far the coolest one that I own. So enough teasing, I'll just show you. I recently found the infamous Holley 3-barrel for a smoking deal on eBay. These things are usually super expensive, well, for what they are. Normally like 500 to 1200 bucks on eBay all day long, but this one I snagged for about 350, I think. So it was decent, although it is missing the choke linkage, so maybe I'll have to find that at some point, but I'm just thrilled that I own one. And in today's video, I'm gonna be doing a full rebuild on this thing and kind of going over the history of it and all the information that I have found on this really unique carburetor. Here it is in all of its dirty glory. Now, my boyfriend didn't believe this thing was even real. I had to literally get one here in order to convince him that this in fact does exist, which I don't blame him. They're really hard to find and not many people talk about them because they just lasted for a short period of time. I believe these were made in like the late 60s, and then they were cut off in 1974 when they were replaced by the 4500 Dominator. So this one here is list number 3916, and this is a 950 CFM unit. So Holley made two of these 3160 models. They made the 950 and they made a 1050. And I believe the way you can tell them apart is that the 950s have these down leg boosters for the secondary, whereas the 1050, they kind of look like these little tubes. They're kind of unique, kind of funny looking, but I believe the 1050 had the tubes for the secondary. So that's just like one way you can tell them apart at a first glance. But I'd also like to mention that I'm still learning a lot about this carburetor. So if I get any information wrong, or if you know something that I don't, please leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to check and read. I'm mostly referencing my little Bible here. This is my Holley carb book, and there's a section, let me see, I think it's right here, that very briefly talks about the 3-barrel. So that's where I've got most of my info from. And then I also pulled out my 3310-1 just to do a little comparison to show you why this thing is super unique. So these were made in order to compete with the tri-power and like 6-pack setups. So those old setups in the 60s that had the 3 2-barrel carburetors on them, this was kind of like a solution for the guys who didn't want to run those multi-carb setups. If you just wanted one single carb, this was it. This was like the racy carb of the day. And yeah, it's really cool. So first thing you'll notice is the unusual choke right here. So it has no choke horn, it's like milled down. So no choke horn like this one. And it's got these like holes in it. Not totally sure why. I talked to a guy who ran one of these in the 70s, and he said he doesn't even know why there was a choke because it didn't really do a whole lot. But it's spring-loaded open, and I'm missing the little cable and the manual choke linkage, kind of like this. Should be right here. I'm missing that, so I'll probably have to go source it if I really want to complete this thing and make it nice. And then another major defining thing of this carburetor, so if you pop the hood on someone's car and you're lining up to race with them, the dead giveaway was the vacuum pod. This thing is absolutely massive. this carburetor is so heavy in comparison to my other ones. So check out the vacuum pod here versus here. It's substantial. And I also ordered a rebuild kit for it, which you'll see right here, that I got from, I believe it's called Daytona Parts. They're one of the few companies that actually make a rebuild kit for this carburetor. Although in doing my research, you know, I've highly debated if you could just take a 4160 rebuild kit and just cut out the space between the secondary throttle blades and then just use that gasket for it. And then the rest of the parts should be the same apart from the vacuum diaphragm, which is massive. I mean, this thing is so big. I rebuild carburetors all the time, and this thing, shoot, it's bigger than the vacuum pod on one of these. So it's pretty cool. This was expensive. So I think this diaphragm alone was $50, and then the rest of the rebuild kit was like $60. So it's getting expensive to rebuild these for sure, and it's also really hard to find stuff for it, but I went out of my way to do it. You know, I got the carburetor for cheap, so I figured I'll invest in the rebuild kit. I'm gonna clean it up, make it look nice, and yeah. Oh, we got a package. Hold up. There's also some people online who question if you could use like if you take like a Mopar 6-pack vacuum diaphragm, since those also have like the massive pods. From what I've seen online, I believe they're different, but if anyone's ever tried it, let me know if it worked for you. I think the, how do you explain it? Like the flange part, like this part is a little different. And I know that those have like more screws in them to kind of keep it shut. So I believe the shape is different. So yeah, this thing is pretty unique. And like I said, I think it was like $50 just for the diaphragm, which is ridiculous. And I don't know many people who would spend that kind of money, because I'm pretty sure a complete rebuild kit for one of these is like $50. And this is probably a way more useful carburetor and probably runs a lot better on your street setup. But like I said, we're doing it because it's rare, it's unique, and this is definitely going to be one of those collector items that like in the future, you know, they're going to be really hard to come by, and I'd like to just have one that's super pretty and ready to go. Last thing I want to show you guys is the underside. I hate doing this. I hate leaving my carburetors like on the linkages and stuff because I've seen them get bent before. So that's why I always use my carb stand for my really nice ones. Shout out to Kevin for making this for me. But I need to get more of them for my other ones because right now they're stored okay, but you know, we want to protect them. So here is my 3310 throttle plate. You can see little throttles. And over here, we got the 3-barrel. So check it out. They're like very similar, obviously, other than this, and there's no center hole here. But yeah, so this one is a 4160. Meaning that, or sorry, oh my gosh, it's a 3160, meaning that it has just the single accelerator pump, and then it's gonna have a secondary metering plate on the secondary side. This one is kind of a funny one where it's a 4150, so it does have the 2 metering blocks, but some of the later ones, so like the 3310-2 would have been a 4160 model, so it would have not come with that. It would have also had a secondary metering plate. So unfortunately, I don't have a 4160 to compare it to, but you guys get the point. You can see. But yeah, this is just so neat to me. Never get tired of looking at it. But I think we are going to stop chatting and start taking this one apart. We have our basic tools right here, And I forgot, something that's nice about these older units is that you just need a flathead to take out the fuel bowls. So, no socket required. Oh yeah, this thing is kind of fused. Okay, I did this part off camera because I know everyone has an opinion, but I used a soft mallet, gave it some love taps. It really didn't take much and it came apart. So let's open it up. Ooh, there's the gasket. Float looks like it's in decent shape, but we're gonna have to inspect it closer. So we'll do that in a second. And then here is the primary metering block. Power valve is a little nasty, but that's all right. We're gonna clean this all up. And then I'm gonna check also the jet sizes here on the primary. And obviously we're gonna clean this entire thing. Man, this thing is crusty. Okay, I love these blue gaskets. Like, these are just it. Like, if you're running anything else, you're losing, because these hold up. All right, let's see. This has, wow. This thing has 81s for the primary, but you know, it is kind of a racy carb. Wow. Okay. Wow, usually these just come out, but this one's really in there. Okay. Now the float can come out. Now the accelerator pump diaphragm. Let's check this out. So there's the lid. Here's the diaphragm. Oh yeah, this thing is done. This thing, you're done. We're gonna reuse the spring. I do have other springs, but you know, I wanna just reuse as much as I can if it's still in good shape. And then if we need to, it's so easy to just swap out parts on these. That's why I love them. So that is the primary bowl, all disassembled. And I always save the gaskets just so I can compare the look to ones that come in the rebuild kit. So I never throw anything away until I'm completely done. So these will stay right over there. Okay, I am so sad. I just went looking everywhere for my Holley jet tool that I bought, and I love it so much, and I can't find it. So we're gonna have to use a flathead, and I know a lot of people cringe at this, so maybe look away. Okay, these didn't really put up a fight, so that's good. But yeah, if you're gonna be doing rebuilds, get the jet kit, or the jet tool. good. Power valve. Wow, it's been a minute since I've done one of these. What size? I know it's a big size. I think it's like an inch or something. Hold up. Okay. That was way easier than I thought. There is the power valve. And we have this plug right here using a 7/16. Ooh. Oh shoot, yeah, this needs to be cleaned up. Okay, and now just the idle mixture screws. Sorry, here we go. It's one.
You're not a true believer unless you run under your car.
I would have done it, but
See?
I would have done it.
See? You're not a full true believer unless you run under your own car.
Should we take off my electric one and put this one on
Pull it.
right now?
You're heating a fire up just like that.
I think it will. Just like 4 pumps tops. Just needs 4 pumps. Here comes the squirter nozzle. Maybe now we'll take apart the vacuum pod. We'll just pull this off and then we'll just get to the secondary side. I think that's best, yeah. So, you remove that little clip. There we go. This thing is kind of annoying, but I've gotten really good at it because I've done so many rebuilds now. This used to always be a pain. Normally we're doing double pumpers around here. Gosh, this thing's got some weight to it. Holy. Like, look at my hand. Jeez. Let's open her up. Let's see, actually, let's test the vacuum. So, what you do is you block off that port in the back. Well, push this in, block it off good. What? Oh my gosh, this thing is actually holding. No way. Oh my gosh, did I just buy a $60 freaking diaphragm for nothing? This thing's holding. I mean, obviously somebody rebuilt this at some point, like you can tell, but now I'm like questioning everything. Shoot. Well, heck, I'm still gonna change it. It's not like I'm gonna use that diaphragm for anything else, but I was so sure that this thing was gonna be junk, and I went ahead and ordered it. But, Wow. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not great. No, this definitely could be replaced. Okay, so in the end, yeah. Geez, it's kind of coming apart here. Oh, I got little cobwebs going on. Whoa, see, it's got like some little cobwebs in here. Dang, this is a hefty unit. Okay, secondary side. I'm gonna do the side probably the easier way, which is to start by taking this off and then taking off the bowl itself. So yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna keep this over here. Ooh, that is tight. There we go. There we go. Is this one missing a gasket? Or no, it does have one. It's just a different one. Oh yeah, okay, that came off better. Oh, okay. So this secondary side has a plastic float. I personally like the brass ones. I mean, I've never had a plastic one like have an issue. Ooh, that is tight. I just prefer them. So yeah, on your 4160s, or in this case 3160 models, secondary side is really easy because you don't have a second accelerator pump. You just have your float and, oh, I forgot to remove the sight screw on the other side, but it's fine. We're gonna just leave that here and clean it up. And now here is the secondary metering plate. Now this takes a special tool to remove or to like get in here. I have to just double check what that tool is called. I forget, and I will be right back. Luckily, Danny had this like clutch type bit here, and so I'm gonna use that to remove this and put it back on after. And then separate the body from the throttle plate, and we're ready to start cleaning. We are gonna pull this off very carefully. I wonder if I could just get at it. Oh, okay. There's the gasket. Well, there's actually two gaskets, which one of them is just getting destroyed right now. So, okay. So on a secondary metering plate, you have this gasket right behind here. This kind of like metal one, and then you also have like this that backs up to it as well. But something I forgot to mention is that whoever owned this previously or worked on it, it says here drilled to 90 jet. So this has had some work done to it. And like I mentioned, the primaries, or for the primary, it had 81 jets. So this thing is pretty racy. Okay, gotta be careful. This part. All right, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had to get Danny to separate this. It took like a solid 15 minutes of just trying to shove a razor blade in here and then slowly work it out, because this was fused. So I'm gonna have a lot of cleanup to do on this part right here. Wow. But yeah, that's the secondary metering plate. I personally don't love these, and a lot of Holley guys tend to do like a secondary metering block conversion. So you get another one, and then that way you can just switch out the jets on the secondary side rather than changing out this entire plate. It's just way quicker to do the jets. Or you could do what these guys did and kind of like modify the plate to what you want. But I don't know, I think jets are simpler. But that is pretty neat. Here's all the gaskets. I mean, that one got shredded. We're still gonna leave it there. Now I think the last thing I'm gonna do is separate the body from the throttle plate. So let's do that. Just carefully work on it like this. Oh, almost forgot this. It's been a minute since I've done one of these. You do not want to lose that. See if it'll come off without too much of a fight. Yep. There we go. Okay, so that is so cool. Oh, I'm sorry guys, I just freaking love looking at it. It's so neat. And then there is the gasket. All right, so that is everything taken apart. I mean, I could go as far as messing with the linkages, but I don't think I'm gonna do that for this video. If I do decide to like completely restore it and also do like a dichromate finish, you'll see that in another video. But right now, this was just kind of like a fun little project for me. I just wanted to keep it simple. So now I'm gonna take all these parts outside, we're gonna clean them down and air everything out, every little port, to make sure this thing is getting the proper air and fuel that it needs. Okay, I just sat here for like 30 minutes debating how far I should take this cleaning thing and this restoration, because I mean, the truth is, this thing is just really corroded. It's really old, and so in order to like fully restore it, I mean, it's gonna need a lot more than just some carb cleaner and a brush, and yeah, and I just don't have the time for that right now. So I think we're gonna put it back together. It's not dirty, and I blew out every single port on this thing to make sure air was getting through. But yeah, in terms of looks, I don't think we're going for a show quality restoration here. I think I just want it to be functional. So I'm gonna start the rebuild, use some WD on the gaskets, and just put this thing together real nice and do some base settings. Okay, we are gonna put it back together now, and starting with the throttle plate to the main body here. And let's do this. So I'm gonna just spray this with some WD. Lay that down. So that's snapped down, that's down. And we're gonna spin it upside down like this and start screwing these in. Okay, so those are all snugged down. Now we can take the carb stand here. Get it set up. Perfect. Okay, so this goes like that. And then just using the dowels there, it locates itself. And now we're gonna use those clutch heads to hold it in place. Okay, secondary metering plate locked down, and now we're gonna assemble the fuel bowl here. Okay, what we're gonna do is invert it and keep screwing it in until we have the float set where we want it, which should be right, I'd say about there. Looks pretty good. Yep, that looks good. And then now we'll take this and lock it down. Here's my other flathead. There we go, that's locked down. So now the float on the secondary is set, and that's pretty much it. So this one already has the gasket behind, so that makes it really easy. Then this just goes on like this. And actually, let me get the bowl screws. Now we're gonna do the massive vacuum pod right here. So taking the brand new diaphragm and lining it up. This part is really tricky, really annoying. Do it again. Okay, that is 3 attempts later. Now I feel like there's something happening. So the first couple times I did it, I thought I had it laid flat all the way around, but I didn't. So we're doing it one more time. I just like to tighten it just so that way there's no mistakes. So, does it hold vacuum? There we go. So squeeze it, plug the port at the back. That is a lot better. So hold it. Okay, so that is the vacuum pod. 3 attempts later. The very last thing is I need that little clip right here. Just gonna tap that on. I'm sorry, my camera died, so now we have the vacuum pod on, but let's do a quick little test. So wide open, and that is so cool. Also, since cleaning it, now the linkage for the primaries is so much smoother. Oh my goodness, what a difference just cleaning it makes. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so now moving on, let's do the primary side. Right here we have the new gaskets, so this one is gonna go first. But I think before we do any of that, we should start assembling the metering block and the bowl. So the metering block here, let's get the gasket for the new power valve like this. I'm just gonna spray it. Just get that all the way around. Okay. So on this side, we're gonna put in the new power valve. Okay, take our 1 inch here and just snug it. That's it. You're not trying to crank down on these parts. That sounds good. Okay, now we'll do the jets right over here. Just gonna carefully put these in. Moving on to the primary fuel bowl. First thing we do is, I just like to set up the float first before I even do the accelerator pump. Sorry, I'm like getting tired now. You want to keep turning it in until you set it where you want it to be. So let me just watch it first. Probably right around there is good. It's just to show you, just like that. Now we have our primary float set, and then we just want to lock this. So that is set. Now we can do the accelerator pump. Let me grab that. Also, don't think that I forgot the idle mixture screws on the metering block. I'm getting to that. I kind of do this in a weird order, I guess. You can work in any order you want. So we're gonna put the spring in. Set this like that. This goes like this. Oh yeah, that feels like it's pumping now. Oh yeah. Okay. In the new rebuild kit, they do give you new idle mixture screws, but I think we are gonna use these. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. We just want to get the cork gaskets. And there's a lot of different opinions on how to do your base adjustments, like how many turns out you want to be, just, you know, for a very base setting. So I'm gonna set it up my way. You guys do your carburetors however you like, but you always want to screw it all the way down first before you do anything else. And then there's this little fitting right here that just goes in. This one has the locators. Like that. Now we're gonna put the needle in. So just drop that back in there. I'm just reusing the old one. It did come with a new one, but we're gonna use that. Time for the squirter. Is that everything? I mean, the only thing that I could do is replace the sight plug gaskets. I didn't do that, so maybe I'll do that really quick. Well, there you have it. It is fully rebuilt now. All fresh new gaskets, new diaphragms, new power valve. It's ready to be installed on something. So it's definitely not the cleanest still. It has quite a bit of corrosion, but I'm happy with it. It's also not a complete 3-barrel. As I mentioned earlier, it is missing the choke linkage. So maybe in time I'll, you know, finish this thing up, find that piece, and then restore it to its like former glory. But right now I'm really happy. Everything works great. So this is really smooth now ever since I cleaned it. It's not like resisting. And then check this out. There is that secondary. So that's great. And then also the accelerator pump here is pumping nicely. I just adjusted that, and I have all my base settings done. I kind of did that off camera. So there you have it. That is a Holley 3-barrel rebuild. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching and letting me geek out over this carburetor. I'm really happy with it. I'm so glad I finally have one in my collection. I've wanted one for years. So this right here is my 950 CFM Holley 3-barrel. And who knows, maybe in the future I'll come across a 1050 and add that one to the collection as well. Maybe something a little nicer, a little more complete. But I love rebuilding carburetors, so it's never a chore for me. I just wish I could have cleaned it a little bit better, but it's so old and the corrosion is a bit much. So if you guys have tips though on how to clean carburetors, leave them down below in the comments because I'd love to hear. I like rebuilding. I don't really necessarily love cleaning them, but I'm always open to tips and tricks that you guys have found over the years. So yeah, here it is. hope you guys found the history of this carburetor as interesting as I did. I think it's so cool that Holley did this. And yeah, it's so neat. I really don't get tired of checking it out. But yeah, stay tuned. Maybe in a future video, we'll put this on one of the vehicles and really just put it to the test and see what it does. I can't tell you exactly when just yet because all the vehicles run really, really well right now, so I don't really want to mess with them, but you will be seeing this carburetor in a future video. So I think that is it for this time, and we will see you later.